Development district. Now they want us to change. We change those. Y'all do it. I do it. Approval of the
Okay, it looks like we're all ready in there. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. If you would just please bow your heads or say a quick invocation. We really just want to thank you for this opportunity to serve the people of Anderson. Please be with us as we make our decisions on these items before us. Help us make it for the benefit of the people of Anderson. Yes, it's a minimum. All right. Everybody has a copy of the minutes from last month. Is there any addenda to the agenda?
No, there's not.
Okay. Everybody has a copy. You have any additions or corrections? A motion to approve the minutes. A motion to approve. A second. Have a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right. Minutes are approved. We'll go straight into the public hearings. First one is AA 2001, a variance request to allow for a secondary building wall sign.
Okay, applicant case number AA 2001. Applicant's name is Jill Hopkins. Property address is 120 Fritz Drive. And the applicant is requesting a variance from zoning code section 12.5, which regulates signage requirements on primary and secondary building walls. Property is located on the northern edge of an establishment at the intersection of Clemson Boulevard and Fritz Drive. New tenant Home Goods was issued a building permit to install two signs on the building. One on the building front facing Clemson Boulevard and one facing Fritz Drive. The third sign on the rear of the building was not approved because the rear-facing wall is not considered a primary wall for the sign purposes. The applicant proposes to revise the existing permit to include a 104.3 square foot channel letter LED illuminated sign on the rear-facing receiving area wall of the existing commercial space for better identification and visibility for customers and deliveries. Staff has recommended that the applicant move the Fritz Drive sign to the rear wall. This is an allowable trading of sign rights under the code. The applicant would then have a front sign, a rear sign, and the freestanding shopping center sign. Finding of the fact, code section 12.8, parentheses D, in David. Sign variances adjustments are intended to allow flexibility to the sign regulation while still fulfilling the purpose of the regulations. Specific approval criteria allow signs which enhance the overall character of an area or allow for mitigation of unusual site conditions. Number one, procedures and applicant from the specific sign requirements set forth in this ordinance may be made to the City of Anderson Board of Zoning Appeals. Number two, approval criteria. Sign adjustments may be approved if the BZA finds the criteria below have been met. Criteria area enhancements. Applicant must meet A and B and C or the adjustment for the A for the purpose proposed sign will not significantly increase or lead to street level sign clutter and will not adversely dominate the visual image of the area and will not be inconsistent with the B. The sign will not create a traffic or safety hazard. C. The adjustment will allow the sign exceptional design or style, which will be a visible landmark. And D. The adjustment will allow a sign that is more consistent with the architecture and development of the site. In the site hardship, if there are any unusual site factors which preclude an allowed sign from being visible to the street immediately in front of the site, an adjustment may be granted to achieve adequate visibility. In reading that, staff recommendation is, the city's position is that the sign meets A and B, but does not meet C or D, as required under the area enhancements section of 12.8. Staff also does not feel that there is a site hardship on the property. Staff would recommend denial of the request.
Any questions for staff? Hey, this one is showing up on there now. Was that there when Staples was there, or is that just recently been put up?
That sign was always blank. Staples had the Fritz Drive sign in the front.
So they had that square there, they just didn't put anything on it.
Correct. Yeah.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant here?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is anybody here against it?
I think no reason to go on there.
Okay.
I think absolutely no reason to go on
Any other discussion amongst the board? No, they didn't have anything that was there, but they want nothing was written.
Right, but, I mean, so this now actually we have it on the rear, but not, are they,
All four.
They're asking for the third sign to be approved. They were already approved for the Fritz Drive and the Clemson Street.
I think the staff proposed a reasonable alternative. And the applicant turned it down, and I say again, I think absolutely no reason to run a variance.
Okay. You make a motion?
I move the variance be denied.
All right, we have a motion before the board that variance be denied. We have a second? Have a second from the gentleman at the end. And all in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, that variance is fine. Denied. The next variance would be our next petition number is AA 2002, which is a request for approval to install a second electrical meter on a single-family lot.
Case number AA 2002. The applicant is Marcus and Elaine Nash. Property address is 402 Kings Road. Zoning of the property is R20, single-family residential. Surrounding zoning, also R20, single-family. The applicant and the owner, Marcus Nash, is seeking a variance from the city code requirements to allow a second electrical meter at 402 Kings Road. Mr. Nash plans to apply for the required permit to construct a separate detached garage/workshop for his private use to refurbish classic cars and odd carpentry projects in his upcoming retirement years. The work involved will require a high electrical demand to support the equipment used, the lift, welders, heating, and lighting equipment. To feed the new building from the existing house service will not be feasible because it would require the existing home to be rewired and an upgrade to the service, along with the permanent obstacles such as differing terrain, elevations, and concrete steps and driveways. The city code allows only one electrical meter per property in single-family residential districts. Purpose of this rule is to hinder the development of illegal additional residential units in single-family districts. Based on an inspection of the property, staff does not feel that the applicant is attempting to place a second residence on the site. Staff's recommending approval for this request.
Staff? It's been posted, it's been stopped from public. Received about 30 or 40 calls from the public, all any other questions? We'll come be up there with that.
The applicant is here. If you have-
Let me ask you, if somebody, I know there's been a lot of the Airbnb stuff, is there any, do they, Airbnb people have to register with the city to do that?
That is in the works. There's nothing right now that
Okay, so you know, he may not be able to do it, but the next person coming on may want to,
that's always been the case.
so that would be my own concern.
Gonna be plumbing in these buildings?
I would refer to the,
Okay, was there any more questions for staff, or let's ask staff that, if not, we'll get, let the applicant come up and introduce himself and ask some questions.
One question.
Okay?
Okay. I have no doubt that the applicant is going to do what he says he's going to do, but what happens when the property is sold?
the records will indicate that those permits are pulled for a workshop only.
Okay, so if that is a problem after the property is sold, that could be reported correctly.
To the new owner. As long as the permit is approved with, the term, single
The
family.
reason I asked, there's been a problem on Kings Road before
Is that right?
with too
Okay.
many people living on the residence.
Okay.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
All right, if the applicant would like to get up and say his case, you're more than welcome to.
Marcus Nash. It's not feasible plumbing. I initially had thought about I'd like to have a bathroom or someplace and a wash sink to wash up. Due to the elevations, it's not feasible to get fall from the drain lines. I don't really have to have drainage or plumbing or anything. This is just a hobby I've worked with for years and years and would like to do it at my shop instead of at other locations. But I want plumbing, they had brought that concern up about, somebody could want to move it, make an apartment out there. But that was my reason for not wanting plumbing, so, to help alleviate that issue. Down the road, I die in 20 years, I don't know what somebody may do with it, but I would suppose that would be for policing at that point.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Any discussion amongst the board? Before we do that, if we did make a motion, I'd like to put on there that it cannot be used in the future if it's not. Just that the variance is not including kind of residential Airbnb, That's the workshop on it, yeah. Can we do that? Can we put that stipulation on there? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you want to, I'm sorry, let me put in on the item.
Make a motion to approve it, to the workshop only.
Okay, so we have a motion before the board of approval with the stipulation to be on for use for workshop only. All in favor say aye. Amen. Do you have a second? One second. Okay. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, they pass.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next item is application number AA 2003. It's for a variance request and required 25-foot setback in the corner lot for a future duplex. Lewis, when we go through it, all this boilerplate stuff, a lot of the findings of the facts, now you don't have to read that word for word. We've seen it a lot. If we have a question about those, we'll ask.
Thank you. Okay, the next case is AA 20-03. The applicant is Crowell Properties. LLC. Property 610 and 612 Laurel Creek Drive. The zoning plan development district, residential community, and the surrounding zoning others is other PDs. The applicant and rear yard setback for lot 37, 610 Laurel Creek Drive. The required front setback is 25 feet, and the required rear yard is 20. Variance request, if approved, will permit both front and rear yard setbacks at 15 feet. Seeking to build 5 duplex buildings along Simpson Road within the Laurelwood subdivision. First 4 building permits have already been issued. The 5th building, which is 610 and 612 Laurel Creek, is a corner lot, and the building footprint had to be rotated to accommodate other site-related factors, such as driveway access, better traffic flow, and to allow more space between buildings. Both as a 2-family residence. Did you want the finding of facts?
No, we don't need that. We go down to the recommendation if you like.
Okay. Recommendation. This variance request of fact A, B, A, because the property is a corner lot, it does have an ordinary rounded corner, which produces development challenges. B, situation is unique to this property, because all other corner lots in Laurelwood are built out. C, does not apply. D, approval will not be detrimental to the surrounding neighborhood. Staff recommends approval of the request based on these findings.
Okay, questions for staff? I'll ask again, is there any phone calls on this one as opposed to it?
We had multiple phone calls from, yes,
Everybody?
and some people are here.
Okay.
Yep. The phone call numbers were about 70 to 30%, 70 with no issues for it, and then there was 30% of people that did have issues with it.
Right, well, we'll get to you in just a little bit. Let's, any other questions for staff? Okay, first of all, the applicant is here. All right, would you like to get up and state your case, or let the board ask you any questions? Just,
I don't know if they gave you a couple drawings here.
uh, you can just state your name for the.
I'm Mike Snow, I'm on Control Property Two. And we're duplexes on these 5 lots. It's zoned for that, and that's our intent. And it's in keeping with all the covenants and restrictions and all that. We're all brick on these. These are going to be very high-end duplexes. They're going to have 10 to 25 foot ceilings. They're going to be really nice units. The corner lot, we would love to put all the entrances on Simpson Road, but the staff has said that they would prefer that we turn the duplex on the corner, for which we're seeking a variance, towards Laurel Creek, and so we did that, and that's where we have a little bit of an issue. Instead of 10-foot setbacks, they're 25-foot setbacks now, and instead of 20 on one side and 25 on the other side, instead of 10 on each side. So that's creating a situation. We had the architect design for these lots, and so that's why we're requesting a variance. We plan on putting a buffer between these lots and the lots behind them, so that they're uniquely, they're distinctly different, and they all face outside the subdivision, except for this one lot, except for that corner lot. And so they'll be screened that direction. And then as far as the stormwater retention, I've talked to some of the neighbors about stormwater concerns. And first of all, the subdivision was designed with stormwater controls in place. And so the neighbors behind us were kind to call us and talk to us about their concerns. So we are doing stormwater containment on each lot as we go down. So each lot will have its own stormwater containing situation. So we're trying our best to meet all of the requests that the neighbors that we've talked to have told us about, and we try to be very responsive, and we will continue to be very responsive. These are legacy things for our family. These are houses we're going to build and keep and pass on to our kids and grandkids. So that's the purpose of it.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
What type of buffer is be built down?
Well, we'll do whatever the city requires, but we already plan on doing a rain buffer. Probably Nellie Stevens or Magnolias or something that's year-round, so the people behind us don't look at us. I mean, these are going to be nice to look at, but even that said, anyway.
It would go entirely to the top, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, there was a suggestion that we also put a buffer along Laurel Creek Drive there. Something I was just handed suggested we buffer along the creek there, but I don't think that's going to be safe to do, because when you pull out Laurel Creek Drive, you really need to see them, for traffic safety type thing.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. All right, now, anybody opposed? Would you like to step up and state your name for the record, please?
Yes, sir. My name is John Paul Freeman. I'm a resident of 607 LLC since 2005. We also have Marty, and that's my neighbor, Craig, and we come in. I had a lot of people come to me, so I went around the pressure drop, I'm not our concerns, and everybody signed. We have over 70% of the law subdivision that is concerned about this issue. I don't know about the phone, maybe not have been residents, okay? And basically, our concern, the main thing is traffic. Everybody already uses that road. It's already dangerous. We have one death up there and 2 major accidents right at that intersection. And I know that, you know, that the DOT does what they can, the road's kind of narrow. But it's really, you know, he spoke about the privacy trees and said when it's going to be unsafe anyway to turn those that way. I can say that. And I've lived there since 2005. Now, I came up, I went and took my own money, and I had some drawings done, what I would suggest that they could do, because I did research a little bit for the DOT guidelines on the roadage, and I understand that the road frontage is now, I'm not asking that they don't build one of the duplexes. They build them all. I'm asking to accommodate the DOT, not turn them into Laurel Creek, face them out towards Such Road, every one of them. Okay? And I don't know what all that as far as the building the code that applies to it. We're not saying, hey, don't build your fifth one. We're saying we don't want to turn on that. We're asking the panel, and we're also asking the builder to please respect the taxpaying residents of Laurel Creek that's there already, that protect and want to protect our community. And you know, the drawings that have look very nice, but most of all, it's going to be the same issue with the drive. You're talking about 4 more cars going in and out, right in front of this house. I mean, smack in front of it. So they're going to be competing for entrance and exits. And then the stormwater issue. Jim is on vacation. I could not get a hold of him. He just built a new house right there, and he planted sod. It was really nice. I had to ask the builder to put up a silt screen. They started grading without a silt screen first. 3 days after grading, they put the silt screen, which is fine. But we had a big storm, and it came down, and it washed almost all of his sod out. I had people on the phone, and I had to touch the sprinkler. And that's basically all I had to say on these guys. And I'm just, again, I'm not against the duplexes. I'm just against them turning into Laurel Creek. And I'll ask, again, for the panel, to please take into consideration for the existing residents there and their privacy and their families.
All right, any questions? Okay, thank you. Any discussion amongst the board? You can step up and state your name.
Craig Bostic, and I'm at 605. A big question about the storm water, I guess I have for the builder, and what that catch means for that drainage.
I'm sorry, could you speak up just a little bit, please?
Sorry about that. I have a question about the drainage, and he talked about the catch that he has planned for the storm drain for each unit, and I'm curious to how do you catch that water and not have it run off down the street? I have sinkholes already because of the drainage, and when you add those buildings, it's going to be an issue. I think it's going to be okay. That lot on the corner is open. It can accept a good bit of the water, but you close it all up, and I think I'm going to have some pretty major issues with water coming through, and those sinkholes becoming even more of an issue. But I'm just curious as to what do you do with water? How are you catching it and keeping it from running down through the rest of the neighborhood?
If you could, yeah, you're working on it.
First, remind the board that we're only looking at the setback.
That's true, that's true.
No, but I'm glad that,
Okay.
we absolutely hear what they're asking, and we want to address all that and make them very comfortable if we can. I would say to Mr. Bostic that, is it Craig? Yeah, I remembered you. When this subdivision was built, every house in there creates impervious surface. And these are no different in a way than any of the other houses that are built in there. So that the subdivision was designed so that each house would potentially not overburden the house below. As a matter of fact, the guy that's on the corner right now just built a house, and just finished the house a year ago, 2 years. something like that? Yeah. And his water goes somewhere. It goes in the street and it goes in the stormwater drains. These, what we plan to do, and we've already started, by the way, before we even, when we pulled the building permits to build these things, we went ahead and ordered the silt fence, and the guy that was installed, he was a day or two later than he said he was going to be out there. So I apologize about any of that, but it was ordered before we even did anything. But we're building berms and swales to catch the water and let it just perk down to the ground, basically. Because these are all on, we don't have to worry about septic fields or anything like that. These are all on sewer, so
Okay.
as far as that goes. And so that's what we plan to do. Each house each lot is going to catch its own stormwater and very gently go to the next lot kind of thing. And
Okay.
we hear Jim's concerns loud, because we don't want our water going through Jim's yard at all.
Okay.
We're going to fully support the street.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to state, I mean, under this zoning, if I'm correct, Louis, they could build if they didn't build a duplex, they could build a single-family house, would have the same issue, right? Okay. Yes, you,
And then, I guess the most important issue, I guess, and that's all, I trust that can probably be handled, is just that Laurel Creek is entirely single family, the entire street. And I know the way you explained to me about, it is allowed, I mean, that's just in there. But if you look at this, and you see the intention, they're all on Simpson Road, and that looks great, and but this is forced to me. I mean, if you look at it, this is our neighborhood. All of a sudden, we have it's not single family anymore, our entire street. This changes that. It changes that corner. This is a corner right here just before. This is a corner, and this is a corner. Both of them are blind drives. This double driveway right here, it's tight. I just don't see it. This is forced, and you know, this is put a single unit there and let them access Simpson Road. But it just doesn't seem right to me or fair, and I think it changes our property value. And I think it's unnecessary.
any questions? Thank you.
I'm sorry, this may not be for the applicant, this may be more for the builder. What restrictions are on these, I'm assuming, has already been checked out? Is this part of the same subdivision restrictions and everything?
Well, for Laurel Creek, all the homes that face, all the lots that touch Simpson Road are in their planned development, or set out.
Thank you. I got a question for staff. If they were turning to go towards Simpson Road, how much variance would they need on each side there?
That would create some other hardships. Maybe Jeffrey can help me with that.
The issue with Simpson Road and turning it the other way is basically you've got shorter distance here, you've got the sign here, which blocks visibility, and then you have the driveway coming out along a higher speed road here. Simpson is actually a city road, not DOT, and so it's actually our engineering staff that's approving all the curb cuts for both roads. They would probably not approve driveways that close to the intersection here with Laurel Creek and Simpson because of traffic, because the sign here blocks visibility. So if you're trying to come out here, you're just too close to this sign to try to come out here and be blocked from seeing traffic. I think it would be more dangerous to have it turned with, driveway coming out here, close to this right here. So I'm not sure our engineering staff would put the driveway there.
Why did that big old Laurel Creek sign have to be there?
That predates.
Wait. There's several people talking.
That predates us. It's been there a long time. It's an existing
My
condition.
question is, why does it have to be there?
We have no requirement that it be.
It can be taken down at any time.
That'd be a neighborhood decision.
By whom?
There's a homeowners association.
The sign is on Is it on a right of way?
The can is right there next to the sign. I'm not sure if it's on the public right away or if it's on the private property.
The reason I bring this up, it sounds like the sign may be a large impediment to doing what Glenn suggested, and that is turning the duplex.
Have an issue with the driveway coming out that close to this intersection here. That would be our issue because you have different standards between intersections, driveways, and it's really more the engineering side of it than our side of it. But there's some standards of how close you can be from this intersection to where the driveway would be. And so with the rate of speed of traffic on that road, I would think it would be safer for the traffic to come here. I mean, you're talking, you know, by engineering standards for the duplex, you're talking about 8 trips per day per unit. So, and that's, you go to the grocery store and come home, that's 2 trips. And so we're talking 16 total trips out of this, added to this road, coming out here. I don't think that's a great burden compared to the safety issue you'd have if there was not here instead.
Well, you got the other 8 coming out on the Simpson Road.
Right, but there's further distance between the intersection and their driveway.
I understand that. I'm trying to get in my mind a way to make this work because I'm truly ambivalent about this. And I hear what the people in the neighborhood are saying, and that's a big concern to me.
Excuse me for,
Simply because the developer, this is the way it's gonna work for him. And I understand that, and we want to encourage growth in the city, you know, as best we can. And I think there needs to be some more discussion as to how to work this out. And I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking for myself. So I'd like to hear from somebody else on the board about this.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked. I said, I think it'd probably be better to have the shorter, get the variance for the other way, and have them all face, all facing the road that way. And if the engineer, they wants to deny it, then
there's a proposal, on your screen for a single driveway crossing the driveway and out onto Simpson Road. Shared driveway.
how is that going to accommodate both of the duplexes?
I'm not sure that the answer is I can speak from, that doesn't be wrong, and I don't know with my engineer, and he said again that the building has a reason here, and we said you also set back different, but it would possibly accommodate, it would be an alternative.
Okay, that's something that'd be another variance for another day. I guess we're just working on this one right here today.
I never did hear answer your question. How much variance you have if you turn it back? Let's talk about the sign.
Okay, yeah. How much variance if they did turn it back? How much variance on each side are we talking about?
When we calculated those numbers, we didn't calculate those numbers. We'd have to hear it from the applicant.
They didn't calculate those numbers. They'd have to.
It's wider than directed. It'd be more
Whoever knows,
Yep.
will it work for everyone?
It's wide, the building is wider than it is deep. And so it would be more, because the city's requiring 25 feet on the front on Laurel Creek. We could do it at 10 instead of 25. It's that easy.
Yes.
But then the driveway would be right next to the street. And that street, Simpson Road, is about 8,000 cars a day or something like that, and Laurel Creek Drive is probably 800 cars a day. So there's a difference in the traffic amount that goes through there. It's whatever's safest, and we'll do whatever you guys say.
That's another question. Can this
And we're not the developer, by the way, we're a builder of, just pretend this is one house. We're a builder. Yeah.
a lot of those houses in there, the garages are side by side, like in the bird flip. If the garages be side by side, you move the guy around Central Road.
We, I don't know the answer to that. I know that we,
No,
I don't know,
You've been reversed.
architecturally, I don't know architecturally if that's possible. I don't know. No.
Any other questions for, I guess the staff is up there now, and any more discussion amongst the board? I guess one concern I have, is we're only gonna have 15 feet there in the front. That's really not a whole lot of room to park a car outside a garage. A lot of people, you had,
Right.
if you have a big car, you're gonna be on the street.
Sir, there's gonna be about, 18 feet in front of the house, and then there's gonna be another 12 feet from the property line to the road. That's that little line there. So
Okay.
total, there's probably gonna be 30 something feet. I don't have the map in front of me, but from the curb to the front of the house is gonna be, like 30 something feet.
All right. What's the pleasure of the board? I can't do it.
There's a she can use.
I agree with what you're saying. I mean, the builder wants to make money on these things, but, you know, there again, I mean, you can always put a single-family house on there. You can do a lot of different things on there. Doesn't have to be, do like we do, redesign it, make it, you know? That's the way I'm looking at it. That's, I mean, if anybody wants to make a motion. Yeah. Yeah, you'd have more room. Yeah. So, what are you saying? What's anybody saying?
I make a quick comment.
Sure.
The builder was saying that it would be a duplex one way or the other, he's not interested in a single family
Okay.
there, and so, his intention is to build a duplex, not a single family.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying, it's for this variance, it doesn't have to, I mean, right. He said he's gonna build a duplex, whether he has to redesign it and all, either, he doesn't want a single family there, so, I mean, that may be something, like you said, they have to redesign, put the driveways together, or something along those lines. Yeah, that's, right.
What's that? Could we see the,
No, that one,
no, it's not?
that's just something he's doing, I mean, that'd work for one, that wouldn't work for the other. And it's like it's encroaching on the other. So, what is, do we have a motion? Well, I'm not supposed to, but I mean, I'll make a motion if nobody else wants to. I can.
Your mind would all be concerned with this is what something happens. Maybe it's here.
Okay, so you're saying deny for now, and they can come up with something else and see if it works, or is that a form of motion, or what are we doing?
Why can't we talk amongst ourselves?
Hey, we have to talk, it has to be, so everybody can hear the discussion. Public, yeah, public hearing.
I want to go into the executive. Okay, well, if this is for the public, and if this is not a motion, I am inclined to defer ruling on this right now and hope that something can be accommodated Okay, right now, I can't vote to grant this variance based on the number of people who have come out against it. I understand the setbacks and all that. But, you know, that would be my suggestion. But I don't feel strongly about it either way. And we've got to get something done.
Mark, I'm, you know, I understand you want to try to use all the same designs and all that kind of stuff, but this is a, yeah, that's what I say, this is a different thing. I'm more inclined that with everybody being against it and all, and sort of, it would be better if they were all turned towards the street, or if, you know, you got, came up another way, didn't need a variance, that'd be fine too. But, I'm sort of, you know, saying, look, let's decline this and see if we can't come up with something better instead of using that same floor plan. Maybe find another one and that'll work better. So, I mean, do we have anybody else have anything they want to discuss? Anybody want to make a motion?
Be a good neighbor,
Yeah, I understand, yes.
and we're gonna design it, we'll design it.
And, yeah, exactly. Like you said, maybe I'll flip it around where the two driveways are together, and that way, yeah, it may work better. I don't know. Or just,
So what should we make a motion?
maybe just to decline.
Table
No,
it?
no, just deny it, and then they can come back with something else.
Okay.
That's what I would suggest.
Then I move we deny the request, deny the variance request.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second? Have a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, and I'm sorry, it's denied. All right, next one is application number AA 2004. This is another, where's my page here? Variance request to allow for additional signage.
Okay, next case is AA 20-04. The applicant is John Wright Jr. Property address is 109 South McDuffie Street. Zoning of property is GC General Commercial, surrounding zoning also GC General Commercial and CBD Central Business District. The applicant is requesting variance from the zoning code section 12.5, which regulates signage requirements on primary and secondary building walls. The applicant wishes to install an illuminated cabinet sign on the north side of the building. However, the north side of the building does not front a street nor has a public entrance to qualify as a secondary sign per section 12.5. In addition to the BZA variance requirement, because 109 South McDuffie Street falls within our downtown historic district, the applicant is also required to receive approval from the city's Board of Architectural Review for any new sign installations and alterations. The applicant has applied and was approved by the bar on February 19, 2020, to install the proposed sign package as submitted, which included the north elevation cabinet sign. And I think you all are finding of facts.
Yes.
Thank you. City's position is that the sign meets A, B, and especially D per the Architectural Review Board approval. Staff recommends approval of this request.
Any questions for staff? What necessarily is the difference between this one and the first one we did, when they're just trying to get an extra sign?
They're trying to get rid
The first one already had two
Yeah,
signs.
okay. Same principle, they're just trying to get an extra one, you know, above what they're allowed. I mean, why does the staff recommend approval for this one as opposed to the first one we did?
The primary versus secondary wall. The other sign, the first sign applicant already had a secondary wall sign. They were looking for a secondary.
Okay.
plus the BAR approval has already been.
What's on the other side of this building? What's on the surface?
The south facing wall is blank right now. It's just two-story white wall. No sign was asked for there.
Is there a parking lot on that side?
There's another small building and a little bit of parking over there.
All right. Any other questions for staff? All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll say it.
Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, that is approved. Any addenda? We have a motion to adjourn. And a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.
Showtime.